Okie dokie, welcome back. Alright, I think I figured out something that should be suitable. Should be doable. Alright. So I've traveled far to the east, to the city of Windhelm. We're down along the docks here. Why don't I pull up the map to show you? Pull out my map, give you a view of the situation. So, the intro clip I recorded, we were in. I should zoom out, show the entire province of Skyrim there. These shields are the various major cities. We did that little intro in Whiterun, and yeah, now we're in Windhelm. We are in search of the treasure of Yngol Barrow. So a long time ago, actually, here, why don't I step back? So all these different markers are places I've already been to, not necessarily done anything at, just discovered. I haven't really gone up into this region at all, just because it's so cold. It's very difficult to survive up there. I think I'm finally building up enough cold endurance and like items to help out with that, but it would still think you have to take the journey in multiple legs to not freeze to death. I have been up to Winterhold because you can get there by carriage or boat as well, and that's where I picked up this dragon claw, ornamental dragon claw from the merchant there, Berna. Why don't I go and show you the claw? So Berna, so she got a real bad deal buying this claw from somebody passing through. It's like, I don't know what I was thinking. Falling for this guy's spiel. He told me it would be worth many times more than I paid with it, because it will lead you to the great treasure of Yngol Barrow. So she's like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, even if I had the time to leave the shop and travel to Yngol Barrow, I'm not gonna, go down into some haunted crypt full of God knows what. And I was like, well, I actually don't think I could do that yet either. But I'll still buy the claw from you to help you make up your loss. I can't remember exactly what I paid. It was definitely bargain price. I'm like, I might as well pick it up. But yeah, I've been I'm finally able to handle a place like Yngol Barrow now. So that's what we're gonna do. I wish I could do the quest related to this lexicon here. I've played through this game twice before over the years, and I never ran into this quest. This Argonian woman just comes to you on the docks in another city. She's hysterical. She's like, I won't. Oh, dang it. I won't go back to Avanshenzal. I won't. You must take the lexicon. Return it to Avanshenzal. Like, what's going on? The memories. I cannot bear the burden. You must take the lexicon. Should never have been removed. Anyway. But Avanshenzal is a Dwarven Ruin, and I know Dwarven Ruins are out of my league right now. The mechanical automatons in there would wipe the floor with my little party here. And unfortunately, quest items you can't drop from your inventory. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I'm stuck with a few things that weighing me down by a few extra pounds, but I can't get rid of. Anyway, oh boy, I'm gonna try not to ramble too much, but I do want to get into here. So Yngol Barrow. This doesn't even give you a quest in your journal. But I remember that this book exists. So I went to the Bard's College in the City of Solitude. That's one of the things I did just before all this, is that I joined the Bard's College. And it turned, fortunately, they had it in their library. And I am gonna I don't know, I can't help but ramble about the lore some. Because the lore is one of the things that has really kept me drawn to these games. Because, it's very deep. It's also very, fragmentary. Like, all these various books in the world really help, breathe life into, something that otherwise betrays its artificiality, too much. And, yeah, there's not much in the game that, like, holds your hand, in terms of explaining everything. So you kind of got to piece together all the history and context of this whole world through the books that are scattered around and just in bits and pieces through dialogue. So let's see. Yngol and the Sea Ghosts is quite short, even for books in this game. So let's read through it. Yngol and the Sea Ghosts. No author attributed. Alright, so Macer and Secunda passed over Ysgramor's people as their fellowship landed in longboats upon the rocky shores of Hyseric Head on their journey from Admora to Merith. Okay, so that's a lot of proper nouns there. So Macer and Secunda are the two moons of this world. Got two moons. They're traditionally held to be, or one tradition holds them to be the body of the god Lorcan, who instigated the creation of the whole mortal plane. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So then Ysgramor is the first great Nord hero who united, is the first Nordic ruler to unite the humans in the continent of Tamriel. The Nords originally came from the continent of Atmora, which is further to the north, and used to be more temperate, but started undergoing an ice age for unknown reasons. So some of them migrated south to Tamriel, and they were the first humans to settle in Tamriel, which they called Merith at that time, basically land of the elves, because this would be like more like 6,000, 4 to 6,000 years prior to right now. Tamriel was only inhabited by elves and the beast races, so Merith, basically land of the elves. And at first, the progenitor elf race and the humans had peaceful relations, but eventually it turned mutually hostile. Anyway, So, boats littered the coast, but Ysgramor did not count his kin, Yngol's among them. Ysgramor commanded the sea ghosts to surrender his kin, and a great gale darkened the sky. The seas thrashed and churned, and a wrathful storm appeared. Ysgramor took up the oars and rowed into the storm alone. Upon the sea, it's interesting, the sea being capitalized there. This might be some metaphorical allusion I'm not familiar with. Upon the sea, Ysgramor wrestled the sea ghosts, and the storm carried him along the jagged coast. 2 fortnights passed without relief, until finally the storm broke. Come the next dawn, Yngol's longboat was found in the icy surf, but the vengeful sea ghosts had already taken Yngol and his clansmen. In his terrible grief, Ysgramor slew a dozen beasts, and burned them in honor of his fallen kinsmen. A Barrow hill was dug in the Atmoran tradition, and Yngol was laid to rest with rights and honors among his clansmen, far below the rocky face of his Serich head, the first children of the sky to perish in Tamriel. The children of the sky is the ancient Nordic name for themselves. I think Atmora was supposed to be the limit of the sky, metaphorically speaking. So, but I guess Yngol doesn't need whatever whatever treasure he's holding on to anymore. I mean, shoot, the woman who was thinking of, the shopkeeper was thinking of going after it was a Nord herself. So, whoops. I guess it's not, wouldn't be such a terrible thing. So, yeah, I don't know, just giving you a little tour here. I'm gonna make some final preparations in Windhelm before making the trek. Oh yeah, and I know, so Serich head, I happen to know that it's basically the Barrow is somewhere right up here by this inlet. So yeah, it's actually not a very long journey at all. So the docks, let's see, well, we'll run into some more people. The docks are where all of the Argonians, are the only place in Windhelm that the Argonians are allowed to live. Most of them live and work down here. Man, people are strangers until I actually talk to them.
Need something?
Well, I don't need any fish, so...
Alright then.
Alright then. So yeah, the Nords are, well, particularly in Windhelm, Statue of Talos, particularly in Windhelm, the Nords are quite racist against Argonians and Dunmer both. Remember, I'm a Dunmer. Yeah, some of them are very rude, but nobody gives me any trouble. So let's see. Yeah, well, what to talk about? I love one of the things I love about the lore in this world is, or in these games in general, is I feel like they strike a very good balance between like the heavy and serious, and just bizarre and silly. Like it's a lot more bizarre than your typical like Dungeons and Dragons based sort of fantasy. So yeah, for instance, the Argonians are they're laid as eggs, I wish I could show. I can't show my desktop either with this. I wish I could show a better map. The Argonians come from Black Marsh, which is tropical marshy land far to the southeast from here. And they, they're laid as eggs, and they have their species has a symbiotic relationship with these giant colonial trees called the Hist. They hatch and they spend their infancies attached to the Hist trees. The Dunmer and Morrowind were one of the last provinces to become officially assimilated with the Cyrodiilic Empire, the human-led, led by the humans of Cyrodiil. And they only were assimilated in the end on condition that they were allowed to keep a lot of their local rule and traditional law. They had their own tribunal of gods who were mortals that ascended, that gained divine powers. Unfortunately, one of the more regressive parts of their traditions that they held on to was slavery. Otherwise, slavery was otherwise outlawed in the Empire. The races had equal rights. Just keep walking around. But yeah, some of the more conservative elements of Dunmer culture maintained slavery of the beast races. So the Argonians and the Khajiit. And the third game takes place in Morrowind, so that's what? That's why this is a lot on my mind. And let's see. So what? But then afterwards, probably as a result of fallout from the events of that game, The Elder Scrolls 3, a few years later, the volcano that dominates the center of Morrowind erupted. Red Mountain erupted in what was known as the Red Year, and made most of the province uninhabitable. So there were also a lot of Dunmer refugees who, came westward to Skyrim. This was about 200 years. This is about 200 years ago. Oh, yeah, where are we? So all the games prior to this take place in the last few decades of the Third Era. As you can see, we're now in Fourth Era, 201. So yeah, a lot of Dunmer refugees settled in the area in Windhelm, in the area around Windhelm. But Nords have mostly we'll go into the Dunmer quarter of town here, the so-called Grey Quarter, after the gray skin of the Dunmer people. Oh boy, there should be a loading. Oh no, we don't get any. Should be some little quote and object showing on those loading screens. Doesn't always. Oh well. Okay, so yeah.
Stay out of trouble, Elf.
Yeah, same. I will, sir. Yeah, you see the guards are. All the Nord guards are bit hostile. Um, so yeah, they're kept not allowed to live in the nicer parts of the city. But on the other hand, oh, here we go. There's a netch. Cool things about Morrowind is how alien of a landscape it is. Got like gigantic tree-sized mushrooms. You got, docile, gigantic flying jellyfish. This is actually a really small one. So this is the new Nissus Corner Club. Local Dunmer and other people on the outskirts of society in Windhelm hang out.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Oh, it is pretty dark in here. Let's see, who has stuff to say?
I thought the Grey Quarter would be a haven for
Oh, yeah.
my kind. I was wrong.
I'm gonna let them explain a bit.
What do you suggest?
Windhelm is divided into 4 quarters. The Grey Quarter is the one that's home to all the city's dark elves. If it looks to you like an impoverished slum, that's because it is. Ulfric prefers that we live in squalor. He has nothing but disdain for anyone who isn't a Nord. He tolerates us, but that's the extent of his hospitality.
Yeah. I know what you mean, Sarah. Have you ever thought of moving to Morrowind?
Not a day goes by that I don't think about returning to the ancestral home of my people. Still, even with the rough treatment we've had at the hands of Ulfric and his lot, I've got ties here. It's probably more trouble to pack up and leave than it is to stay. Besides, Amberus can't run the corner club on his own. Keep on your guard. This city can be a little rough for those such as us.
Yeah, tell me about it. Amber's
Welcome, brother. Please, enjoy yourself.
Oh boy, I already took care of the murder mystery. What to ask about? I'm gonna just continue general. How do the Dark Elves treat in Windhelm?
Well, you see where we have to live. This forgotten alley. All the filth from the upper quarters flows downhill, what they say. Good luck getting one of the guards to help with anything. I tried to get Ulfric to even come down here to see the squalor, but the High Lord of his mightiness couldn't find the time.
Yeah, you can find. Actually, I mean, Ulfric himself isn't really so racist and hostile towards the Dunmer or towards outsiders in general, but he also just doesn't care. So he doesn't really do anything to counter the much more paranoid and repressive, will of his followers and commanders. Oh, who are you? Oh, you're just a mercenary. Okay. Not much. Too expensive to hire as well. But yeah, when you talk to other Dunmer, there are other Dunmer to find, who will point out that also, the Dark Elves also, the Dunmer also segregate themselves to some extent, because their culture is also very traditionally tribal and Dunmer is a very paranoid culture in a lot of ways. Secretive. That's how they had to survive in their early history.
Take a good look around. I'm
Through
sure you'll find what you're looking
secret
for.
plots to
If not,
defeat
let
much
me
more
know.
numerous and
I might
powerful
have it stored
enemies.
away. All my goods are legitimate. which is more than I can say for some.
Yeah, okay, well, okay, so I'm kind of making it my, I'm trying to roleplay more this playthrough than I have in the past. Like, really think about forming a character with and acting on, you know, sensible motivations and not just doing whatever comes up. So I'm trying to help my own people and the Argonians here in Windhelm. Unfortunately, the game gives you limited ways to like really do that and see any tangible results. But you know, you can always fill things in with your imagination. So this shopkeeper has a quest I know I can do to help out a fellow Dunmer, but I know I'm not good enough for it yet. I don't know, I just let him explain.
Of course nothing in here is stolen. Only a careless,
But
shameful, idiotic
I'm not good
fetcher
enough
would do something as stupid as to buy pilfered goods.
to,
Oh, by Azura, I've made a terrible mistake.
sorry.
I bought a gold ring, and Viola Giordano has been missing a ring that looks just like it.
Yeah, so I can't return that ring for you. As good as my sneak skill is, I know I'm not good enough to break into that particular house and return that ring at the moment. So I'm just going to try to stock up on some last-minute supplies. Let's see. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to help my poor people who have suffered so much, and also maybe make up for some of the sins of our past. Sorry, I am not paying attention to what I'm even looking at. What do I need? Okay, I could use a few more health potions if I can scrounge them up. Ooh, alright, not fortify health. That's not what I need. Okay, so I don't think I need anything else from you, actually. Oh! Actually, I do need that. I have not been able to find one of these. Haha. That's, I need that to translate ancient text to help me, learn spells on my own rather than from other wizards.
I buy and sell just about anything.
Oh, good. Yeah, and eventually I don't know, I might just have to take a side in the Civil War if I'm really going to help the Dunmer. Because, yeah, I know if Ulfric and the Stormcloaks win, and they have no intention of doing anything to really help or protect them. The Empire is pretty problematic in a lot of ways. They are modeled very much on the real-life Roman Empire and British empires. Oops, okay. I guess we're not going up there. Okay, in the way. But on the other hand, yeah, I've not taken a side in the Civil War as of yet because it severely limits where you can travel. Once you take a side, it becomes very dangerous to travel into cities that are held by the enemy faction after you become a known entity. Kind of strange, you actually come to think of it, that nobody seems to mind random adventurers traveling back and forth between enemy territory. So yeah, Jarl Ulfric. Dang it. Oh boy, I could go on and on. Maybe I'm not going to bother explaining this whole part of it. Yeah, this is funny. It's Olaf One Eye. Subdued the foul dragon. This this actually relates to the first quest, the quest I had to do to gain entry into the Bard's College. First thing they do is send you down into a different crypt to fetch a lost poetic text relating to Olaf One-Eye. He's an ancient king of Windhelm, which used to be a rival city of Solitude. But anyway, yeah, I guess in a bard in Skyrim is serious business. Like, first thing they do is send you to face into an ancient crypt that is likely full of very dangerous undead. Just to join the school. But anyway, we found the lost poetic text, which relates how the deeds of Olaf One-Eye were all a lie. He was actually just master deceiver. But it was very fragmentary. It's very old, damaged, and fragmentary. So I helped the head instructor of the college just fill in the blanks with stuff we made up on the spot, and then presented that as the full ancient text of the poem to the court in Solitude. So sort of thing help explain why the history of this place is so fragmentary and garbled, and there's like multiple contradictory versions of events often. It's the local inn, Candlehearth Hall. I'm going to let's see, go over to the full-on potion shop and see about see if I can grab a few more there. File. Oh boy, this is too bad. These loading screens are supposed to give little interesting things so I don't have to keep filling in. Oh well. Okay, so this guy's dude's a Nord or maybe a Breton. This good dude's a high elf, Altmer.
I'm so close to the answer.
And he's talking about another quest that I'm not going to pick up yet.
Take a
So
look.
no, not good enough. No, not fortify. We need restore. Oh, they have such. Okay, good. One decent one. Sure, why not? I'm fine. Okay.
Hope to see you again soon.
More than enough. And I actually gotta take a quick break. I'll be right back.